Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today, as you can tell by the title, I thought it would be fun to go over my goals for 2022. As you guys might have heard in prior videos of me ranting about this topic, you will know that I do not like to call them resolutions. I like to call them goals. To most people, what you call them, it really doesn't matter, but to me, it just always has, because as I've stated in prior videos, resolutions just sound so negative to me and like I have to resolve something that I haven't been able to resolve in my life or something like that. Whereas I like to look at it as it's a whole new year. It's a whole new opportunity to either do things you've never done before or just focus on areas in your life that you want to make a bigger priority. Yeah, that's why I call them goals. And as long as I can remember, I have kept a list of my yearly goals in my phone or iPod or what have you. Because throughout the years, I like to look back on my list and put a little green check mark emoji if I have completed them. Anyhow, since they're on my phone, and once again, I'm filming off my phone, I have them written down in my diary for you guys today. So don't mind me that I'll be reading off of this today. All right, here are my 2022 goals. Goal number 1 is to get a new job. If you guys have watched my other videos that I've posted recently, you would know that I have actually completed this goal already. When I make my goals every year, I try not to focus too much on how long or quickly it'll take me to complete each goal. Rather, if it can just get done at some point during that year, I'd be very happy that it would get done. So yes, in my phone, there will be a little green check mark emoji next to it. My second goal is to find a new home church and get involved. So for me, my faith walk is very important to me, and I love to find a church that I can call my home church whatever season of life I'm in. And for the duration that I'm at that church, I try my best to get really involved. Because in my experience, the more you get involved in your church, the more likely you are to attend services regularly, meet new people, take your faith walk more seriously, and just all around make it more of a priority in my life. Fun part about this goal is that I am creating a series on my TikTok account. If you're not following, I'll put my username right here. And it's just a little series of me getting ready for every week's new church until I find a church in my area that I feel really comfortable at and I feel like I really click with. If you're interested in following along on that journey, feel free to go search up my TikTok and see how that is going. My third goal for the year is to move out of the house. Once again, I have done that. I am currently in my new apartment, very proud of myself. So once again, green checkmark emoji next to that. My fourth goal is to read 1 to 2 books every month. This goal, it's perfectly fine if I read more than that. However, I find that generally I get busier than I would like to when it comes to reading, so at least for me, I think 1 to 2 is very manageable right now, and currently we are still on track of that, so very proud of myself. Goal number 5 is to go to 10 new places. So with the many lists that I have had, this is generally a goal I will always put on my New Year's goals because I like to challenge myself to go out of my comfort zone and to explore, whether it's with people or by myself, because personally I love making memories and experiencing new things, and I think a great way to do that is just by simply going to new places. Even if it's within your region, that's perfectly fine, but going to new places in general, even if it's something as small as like going to a park or something, it just pushes you to see more of the world in a very manageable manner. My 6th goal, which really ties in with my 5th one, is to go on at least 5 solo trips. So something I started doing this past summer was learning how to appreciate time with myself and enjoy time by myself, because ever since I was little, I really valued time with people, which is great. That's a great thing to value, but I personally valued it so much more than ever spending time with myself. So anytime that I did spend with myself, I would just get immense amounts of anxiety because I didn't know how to be alone and content, in all honesty. However, I'm happy to say that after the summer, I've grown really comfortable with spending alone time and actually have learned to enjoy it. So that is why this year I'd like to challenge myself to go on 5 solo trips. My 7th goal for this year is to learn more about the ukulele. That is another goal that kind of was inspired from things that I did this summer. I just bought a ukulele this past summer, and I know a couple chords or notes or whatever they're called, but I'd really like to just grow a little bit more. So whether that's learning how to play a couple more songs or maybe taking a class or something, I think that would be really fun to do this year. My 8th goal has to deal with another hobby that I want to get into, which is learning how to embroider. My roommate in college learned how to do it during our junior or senior year, and ever since then I have wanted to get into it because it just looks really cute. And from the people that I've talked to, it's a pretty easy hobby to pick up, so I'm hoping to get into that this year. My ninth goal this year is to buy a tabletop sewing machine. So I don't generally put goals of buying things in my list of goals every year unless it's like a bigger item. So like last year, one of my goals was to buy a new car, or buy my first car, I should say. And a tabletop sewing machine is not as expensive as a car, that's for sure, but it is a pricier item that I've just never put aside money to buying. But it's something that I would really like to buy because although I love my sewing machine that's built into my table, it's A, pretty old, and B, pretty limited in what you can do with it. So although I will be keeping that sewing machine, I would really like to invest in buying a tabletop one to do some projects that I've been wanting to do for a long time. My 10th goal this year is to start paying off my student loans. So now that I am a college graduate, loans do start kicking in. And although our government has been putting student loan payments off for right now, I personally would still like to get a good grip on them and get ahead of it while I can. So that's why even just starting it is a goal for me. My 11th goal for this year is to get my first car wash. I know for most people this goal probably seems really silly. For me and my social anxiety, it's something that I've just never gone to do. This year I want to take Honey to get her first car wash and I'm making myself do it. My 12th goal is to learn to cook 2 new things. I am anticipating and hoping that I pass 2 things, but at the bare minimum, I'd like to cook at least 2 new things this year. Especially with living in my first apartment, with buying my own groceries every week, I feel like the time to really learn how to cook new things is now. And then right after that, my 13th goal is to learn how to bake 2 new things. This one I don't anticipate as being as hard because I love to bake and I have lots of experience baking, so it's kind of more like a fun goal for me just to like push myself to try a couple new things that I could bake. But again, if I surpass that number, that's perfectly fine. I just, at the minimum, would like to learn 2 new things. And my last goal, my 14th goal for this year, is to double my savings account. I want to say ever since I was a sophomore in college, this has been a reoccurring goal that I put onto my list of goals every year. Because at the beginning of the year, and you're looking at finances and stuff, it's just a really good time to see like, okay, this is where I'm at, and this is where I'd like to be by the end of the year. So this goal is almost always put as my last one because I know it will take me the entire year to put the green check mark emoji on it, so not worried about completing it anytime soon, obviously, but still something that's good to list so I don't forget to do it. A little note that I added at the bottom of my list was that I might add more as the year goes on. I don't know about you guys, but I know at least for me, I don't like to see this goal, like this set of goals as like the finite set of goals that I have set for the year, if that makes sense. I like to think of my list of goals as something that I can edit throughout the year. Hi y'all, editing Sarah here. So just like I was saying in that last clip, how I don't think it's too late to add to your list of goals. I actually ended up adding to that list since I initially made it. However, I completely forgot to put it on the list and to talk about it while I was filming it, so I hope you guys don't mind me just telling you guys what my 15th goal for this year is. So my 15th goal for this year is to be off social media for the entire year. Now, when I say social media, obviously I'm not talking about TikTok or YouTube because I'm still creating and posting on both of these apps. So when I say social media, to be clear, what I mean is Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. I will still be using Facebook Messenger as the only exception because I do contact certain people through that app. But other than that, those are the 4 main apps that I'm hoping to be off for the entirety of this year. So far, it's going really well. I think I'm about a month into this goal because I didn't start it on January 1st. So to say the least, I've definitely had withdrawals from the apps, but I have taken social media breaks, much shorter social media breaks in the past, so I'm not completely new to this idea. However, I've never been on a social media break for this long, so that's why I wanted to challenge myself this year to honestly just really put that on the back burner and focus on myself and different hobbies I want to get into. And also just focusing on the relationships that mean the most to me in my life, in all honesty. Because at least for me personally, I have gone through healthy and unhealthy phases with social media, and during my healthy phases, I don't mind keeping up with people and what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. However, when I'm going through my negative phases, or I should say my unhealthy phases, keeping up on every person's life to that extent is like having 100 tabs open in your computer or something. At least to me, that's like the visual way of how I can see social media, to me anyway. Because it's not even just that you're trying to keep up with every single person's life, like people you barely even know, people you don't even talk to on a yearly basis. Like, it's not just that, it's also the fact that there's how many different avenues of social media that every single person likes to post on, so you have so much different content to consume from each person. And towards the end of last year, I was just noticing that it was really affecting my mental health, and so I was like, Sarah, we gotta challenge ourselves this year to not be on any of those apps, because it's just not worth it. And I've made it a priority for so long, which is fine. Like, there's positives and negatives to anything in life. So obviously there's still good things that can come out of social media. But for me, where I'm currently at in my life, the unhealthy is just outweighing the healthy parts of it for me. So anyhow, yeah, that's why I'm doing it. I thought I'd go in a little bit deeper and explain why I'm doing this goal this year. Because I think to most people, taking social media breaks is a really interesting goal to have, I guess is a fair way to put it. Like, when I tell people that I go on social media breaks, I get all sorts of comments about it. Just because everyone has their own views and opinions on social media, which is fine. That's obviously going to happen with anything in life. But hopefully me explaining this goal makes more sense to those who might have had questions about why I wanted to do it this year. And for those who may be potentially interested in doing this goal, like, I seriously encourage it. You don't have to take a year off of social media by any means. This is me having gotten to this point of taking social media breaks on and off for the past 2 years. I would be on and off social media like every other month. And I just noticed that every month that I was off social media, I could really focus on myself and my mental health and my personal growth and my very few close relationships. I could really put all my time and energy into those instead of, for lack of better words, trying to put my eggs in all different baskets. I could just focus them on the ones that were most important to me. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm doing it, and I'm very excited to see where this year off of social media will take me. Again, it's just those 4 apps. I will still be using Pinterest and Visco and TikTok and YouTube, and to some people those aren't social media apps, but I always have to make that disclaimer because to other people they are considered social media apps. So apps like those I'm still using. If I found them to be unhealthy, or if I end up finding them to be unhealthy later on the year, I will be adding it to my list of apps to not use. Because at the end of the day, that's the main purpose of this goal, is just finding apps that were unhealthy to me. But so far, I'm really enjoying all of those apps. I love creating, and I get so inspired from each of those apps. So Sarah, in this current state, is very happy to be using them. But yeah, I think I might do a checkup on not just how my goals are going, but specifically my social media goal, because I feel like I get a lot of questions about it. And again, at the end of the day, my YouTube channel is primarily for my purpose, because I thought it would just be fun to film memories and personal growth and be able to look on it for years to come. And I think it'd be really nice to look back on this years down the road to see, oh yeah, Sarah, remember that year you took off from social media and what you learned from it and what you gained from it, maybe things you missed from it. And you know, maybe at the end of this year, I find myself just re-downloading the apps and getting back on them and like nothing happened. Or maybe I find myself at the end of this year and I'm like, you know what, Sarah, you were on something. You should never download those apps ever again. And maybe I'll do 2 years of no social media. I don't know. But that's why I think it'd be fun to film some little progress clips, because then I could see what my thought process was throughout the whole entire thing. But anyhow, that's enough rambling about my last goal. Back to the video. That I want to increase things or decrease things based on how I'm doing with my goals, or if I think of things throughout the year that I would like to add all of a sudden. Because I think it's easy at the beginning of the year to fall into a trap of, well, it's the beginning of the year, so I better figure out exactly what I want to do with this entire year right now. But in my humble opinion, I don't think it's ever too late to add to your goals for the year. Like, in all honesty, it could be December, and I think you should still be allowed to add something to your list of goals, because you still have a whole month before the year is over to complete that goal, whatever it is. And for me, at least, that's just such a healthier way to look at it, so you don't feel so much pressure all at once to make this list of goals. But anyhow, that is it for my list of goals for 2022. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys would like to comment some of your goals down below, I'd love to read them. Again, I love to add to my list of goals and edit them. So if you guys have any unique or fun ones, I would love to read them and potentially add them to my list. As always, I hope that you're having a great day, but if you're not, that's okay too. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!